Okay. 2 seconds, folks. So we have a Wasde. The Wasde has been testing fairly weak. Okay, that's the problem we've been having. Fairly weak movement. Now, why is it still a family money trade? Because there's still a lot of good opportunity in the WASD moving, and in fact, there's every possibility it could still be a very nice behaving trade. Just because it's been somewhat slow over the recent time period, it hasn't had tons and tons of stop outs. So honestly, we still trade it. We still wait for a fill. All right. Still going to wait for a fill. And that's the way that we want to deal with it. We definitely want to take the trade. It's every possibility it could still be a good moving event. It's very possible. So, if you've never tried now, there is an issue. There is an issue with one of the grains that we used to trade with it. We used to, okay? And the reality is we are not trading corn on this event at the moment. All right. Corn is not one of the instruments that we're recommending anymore for this event because of the way that corn has been moving. It hasn't been moving. That's been the problem. It's been moving so poorly that we took it off. All right. So, also with corn, you can't trade it in prop accounts. Whatever reason, they've decided that corn fits the same bill as bonds, and you're not allowed to trade it in a prop account. If I try to put a corn order on, I believe it'll give it. Let's see if it gives me an error. It does. Product code not permissioned. And if you ask for permission, you can't get it on corn. Okay? It just doesn't work. So if you're going to trade corn, the only way you can trade it is in a cash account unless there is a prop account that does allow corn. Now, it might be that some of the companies that allow bonds will also allow corn. Currently, we're using Bullinox, and they don't allow it. But as of now, corn's been moving so small on this report, we don't have a setup. However, I will still put on my corn chart a reverse continuation strategy on the outside chance that today corn has an anomaly and a very big move. Because if it does have a move, corn very often reverses on this event. When it was moving, it very often reversed. Okay, so I will set up a 15 tick target, a 15 tick stop as a reverse continuation on corn. And I'll call it corn reverse continuation. Isn't that clever? Now, at the moment, let's verify the contract by volume. That looks like the most sensible contract. So first things, I'm going to go to new. I'm going to go to market analyzer. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add my corn contract. It's got nice volume. It's got 7 days until rollover. Now, I'm also, is there an 11 corn? Let's see if there's an 11 corn. If not, you got to go to January. Corn might not have an 11. It doesn't. It does have December. Now, here's what's interesting. December corn is way higher volume, more than double the volume of, or almost more than double. It's like 90 versus 50, not double, but a lot, much higher. So I would trade ZC 1225 because of the gigantic difference in volume. It's a much more liquid instrument. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Nitin, that the same companies that allow bonds would allow um, corn. What about elite, probably elite trader funding also would fit that bill? Which of those companies do you like the best? Ray, you're using elite, right? You like elite. Um, I think it's pronounced blue sky, don't you think? Not blusky. I think it's blue sky. I don't know. I'll ask the Bullinox people how to pronounce it. We'll do that. So I like the corn, the 12 contract rather than the 9. And then soybeans, I'm thinking that 11 is correct on soybeans. The volume's very high, nice and high on soybeans 11. If you look at soy 9, I'm sure there's good volume. It might not be a 9. I forget. It's always easy to forget with grains. Soy doesn't have a 9. They have a 7. That's already expired. Soy is 11. So really the question is 9 or 12 on corn. I like the much higher volume. I would do that in cash. Only if there's a giant move would I take a trade. Only if there were a giant move. Giant. If there's a reversible move. That's a more intelligent way to put it. If there's a reversible move, I would consider a corn trade, depending, of course, on the move. Now, on our soybean trade, let's look at the DMM. So corn, there is a bracket breakout trade with a bracket of 6, okay, on corn. There is a setup. I don't recommend trading corn on this event. However, the possibility, so look at the DMM. There's been 2 cancels in a row. Only one stop out of 6. And there's been 3 winners. There have been 3 corns that have moved, but you got to go back 3 months. If there's a move with corn, it should be a decent move, okay? Because the ones that work have decent moves. Otherwise, we get a cancel or a stop. So, if you have a prop account and you can trade corn, you might consider the breakout. It's not so risky it's going to blow up the account. I would not trade corn in the breakout in cash. I think the behavior just hasn't been solid enough, reliable enough that I'm real interested in trading cash on it. All right. On soybeans, we had a nice tick last month, but it was slow. I do remember that we had to wait for our fill. In June, we had pretty much no response to the news on either instrument, which is pretty unusual with Wasde on soybeans. And then we had a nice move in May and a nice move in April, and again, another cancel. So there has been um, uncharacteristic behavior from this report. But really, the worst case scenario was February when it was dull, but it was still 19 ticks. It was not enough to get to the target, but sometimes when you sense that a report is dull, you can shrink your target and grab a small profit and get out. So what do you do? So I would trade a normal breakout on soybeans. We're going to trigger at 11:29.58. We have a bracket of 10. And we've got targets of 8 and 25. And the stop is 20. I would definitely use a break even minus 5 or 4. Definitely use a trigger, break even minus 5 or 4 if it hits the first target, because this report does tend to reverse. And the trigger is 11, hold on, 59.58, not an 11:30 trade. Sorry. Thank you, Francis. 11:59.58. Hey, I was up at midnight trading, so you've got to watch me today. You got to watch me. It's 11:59.58 on the trigger time. It's a 12 o'clock event. Otherwise, what would happen? You put that time in, and your orders are going to go on your chart the minute you enable that trade, because 11:29 is already passed, right? All right. So I am going to set the time to 0 because we're going to check our bracket like we always do. For bracket management, we're going to label the trade breakout soy. All right. Apply it. Okay it. Put the charts on sim to manage our bracket. I noticed that my corn trade needs to be put on the right account. I'm putting one reversal in cash. It's got to be a very good move for me to take it and risk cash on this trade. And then we're testing our breakout brackets on soybeans right now. That's a manageable, nice bracket. We could turn off that bracket. I do like 11:59.58 on the trigger time. Targets anywhere between 8 and 40. All right, 8 and 40. Normally, you should have time to increase your target on this report if there's a really good move. If there's an explosion, that's when you sometimes regret not using a bigger target. Okay. The stop is 20. And then don't forget to choose the account that you're going to trade. And since my number 17 account is doing really well, I'm going to keep trading in that account. Even though I've been considering that my high risk account, it's been doing rather well. Let's make sure our time is back. 11:59.58. Bracket is 10. Targets anywhere between 8 and 40 with a stop at 20. Don't forget to change your charts in Chart Trader. And then don't forget to turn the trade on. And then I will also add a secondary setup a soybean reverse continue. We'll add another strategy to the chart, and that'll be a reverse continue. It's 12.50 a tick for soybeans, just like the mini S&P. And we'll do 15 tick target, 15 tick stop. And we'll put that on the same chart. Remember, that's after the news. And we'll call it soy reverse continue. Apply it, okay it. So now we have two setups ready to go. We've got our corn possible reverse continuation, and that's in our cash account because we don't have a prop that allows corn, and people are saying blue ski. I think it is blue ski. Who knows how that's pronounced? You have to go listen to a YouTube video. Blue sky? Ray, it's blue sky? All right. Ray would know. Blue sky. Um, Tradeify. I don't know anything about Tradeify. It's too many companies. Way too many companies these days. Let's look at a couple of WASDs. So what happened last month? July 11th. Pretty much the same setup. All right, there is the noon event. It was slow to fill. It took its time. So it filled and then it followed through, hit the first target. We started to trail. I would expand my second target at some point. Now it's at the low of the day. That's a place where you can get a change in direction always. It's possible. But it was kind of a slow moving report, but it was profitable last month. I'm happy to take a slow growing profit. Nothing wrong with that. Now we expanded our target. So I got a good question for everyone. If I order a phone from China, what what are the tariffs going to be? What are the customs going to be? Do you think anyone can figure it out? Nice opportunity to just make a profit on that Wasde. Just trailed. expanded the target, trailed. It was a good Wasde. Corn moved, and it would have been a small breakout, I suppose. 416, but trust me when I say huge, it wasn't. But there was a little something there. All right, but pretty small, pretty small. Let's look at June. June, there was no move, so we'll just zip through that. So 1201, we had a trap trade for corn, and you could see there was no move at all, just nothing, no move at all. Couple of ticks on corn, then 45 seconds, soybeans still, remember our tiers, our brackets are only 10 ticks. It's not that much. It's an average size bracket. It's not tiny, it's not big, it's common, and just not much of a response. Corn, little bit, not really much, nothing to reverse, right? Just nothing to do. Then we look at May. Just a heads up on the trade room schedule. There will be no natural gas room Thursday. Just make sure you check the schedule. There's been some updates made to the schedule. So then going back into May, so Wasde in May had a pretty good sized burst, it looks like. And even corn had a burst in May. Even corn burst in May. 20 ticks. And there's corn doing a reversal like it often does. So there was an opportunity for a little bit of a profit on the reversal. So let's see what kind of move we get today. Corn, we're just looking for possibly something after the news. And then soybeans, looking for at the news some sort of a burst. Generally, you look at soy and corn in points. So net change display goes points, not ticks. And it has to move at least one tick before it can recalculate. Soybeans are pretty negative on the day. And I do want to thank our friends. We should everyone should be hearing us on YouTube. Let me see if I can. I haven't watched the screen. I'm embarrassed to say. I apologize for not watching the screen this morning. Let's see if I can put it up. Okay. Thank you for everybody that's watching us. You might want to hit the notification bell so you know the next time we're going to be here. All right. We've got a little bit more than a minute. Now, financial juice these days is covering the Wasde report. So if there's not much of a move, we will hear in our headset when the news is out. And that does help to make a decision whether or not you're going to cancel a trade if there's no movement, like there was in June. When a report is not generally covered by most of the calendars, it can make it challenging sometimes to know for sure when the news is out if there's no move. Okay, here come the brackets. Okay, very, very strange whipsaw. Looks like it hit target one, pulled back, hit target one, pulled back, and because it couldn't get the stop move fast enough, it actually lost a little bit. And then corn actually had a good move, or good. Look at the size. Right now it's moving down 19 ticks, which seems to be about what corn moves on almost every WASD report. Taking a long for a test of the high in the prop account, see if we can get a little bit of a pop. Okay, got my money back, almost all of it. Corn, it's a pretty big pull down for corn. I'm not going to reverse it. You've got too powerful of a squeeze right now. I don't want to enter a long. I do think it'll probably reverse. You're at S3. You are at S3. If it breaks S3, I'd probably get out of the trade if I were going to take a long on that corn. And soybeans are now testing that high. All right. They're testing that high, breaking it. Probably going to get that reversal on on corn, I mean. Probably going to get that reversal. If it breaks S3, I would probably get out if it breaks S3. That's a pretty strong area of support. Now, I'd let it break S3 with 3 ticks at least. At least 3 ticks. All right? At least 3 ticks. Now I'm canceling, turning off the breakout. All right. A little bit of bad luck that it was such a quick reversal on that pop that it pulled back so fast that even though it still continued up, it hit the stop. And even though it hit target one, um, at least on ours, it created a small loss on that. It lost about $140, and we gained back 120 on that second entry. And then corn, it's struggling to reverse. I think it's possible that S3 will hold the price of corn. I think it's possible. It's moving pretty slowly though. Well, soy hit my stop, but it hit my target first. Hit target one, then I moved my stop automatically, but it was so fast that it didn't protect all the profit. It was too fast. But if you look at how much did you actually lose on soy, I think what you'll see is it's not a full, it may not be a full stop. It should only be partial. Mine was partial. Now, if you did not move your stop at all, then it may have hit the full stop. But even still, if it hit the first target, you're still not a full stop, if you follow me. The first target was 8 ticks. The stop was 20. So you could be down 12 ticks, which is what happened to me. And then I got about 8 ticks back on that jump in to test the high. And now it's still pushing up. Corn is making that reversal, trying hard anyway, trying very hard. We'll watch the video on this. I want to show you the video because it was very, very fast. Let me render this video. All right, 2 seconds. All right, here's the trade. Get rid of the clock. All right, so watch what happens. It's very fast. It's going to go up, hit the first target. It'll actually probably appear like the stop moves. Right there, the stop did move. So, but there was probably negative slippage on on the stop there. It just changed direction so fast because you can see it entered at 999. It gives you your first target at 1001, and then at 994 it pulled back. So that's what caused that to behave the way it did. And then corn, like I said, looks like about a 20 tick move. It may be worth it to just trade the breakout, to try the breakout again with corn with that 6 tick bracket. It is struggling to get that reversal. You had a few ticks, but soybeans are doing well to the upside. Corn, totally different response. Now, again, the total of the trade candle is not very big on corn. It's not as big as it looks. It's not bad though. 28 ticks. If you go to the second minute, if you go to the second candle, you had a few more ticks down. About 28 ticks. You had a six bracket. So maybe you had 18 to 20 possible profit ticks. It was slow, so it could have worked as a breakout. So I think that we'll consider adding the breakout back in next month. And then I'm surprised the reversal didn't work better. Now you would have gotten in somewhere in this area here, and it went up 11 total ticks. Maybe you could have gotten 5 ticks on that corn reversal, depending how you played it, but there was a little bit to grab. And it's not necessarily over yet. It hasn't stopped. The stop, I said, at least 3 ticks below 7S3, at least three. All right. And son of a gun, soybeans are pushing. Soybeans are pushing. Would I jump in now? I wouldn't. Is there someone that will? Probably. When you say you trade, what setup did you trade? What setup did you trade, Francis? Well, I could look at it. I could look at it. Okay, Ray. I'll see you later. See you later. Let me look, Francis. So bracket of 10, target of 15. So what I'll tell you. Francis, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. I think you made a mistake. You only moved your stop to break even plus one. Didn't didn't you mean to do a higher number than that, Francis? If the market moved 9 ticks, you moved your stop to break even plus one. Is that what you meant to do? Okay, so well, I'll tell you why it didn't work because it just all moved so fast. But normally in that case, I would want to move it probably to at least break even plus five. I'd want to at least grab 4 ticks, if possible, of profit. But I think honestly, Francis, it was just a fluke of super fast movement that caused it not to work. I mean, probably 8 times out of 10, it would have worked normally. It was a very unusually fast reversal, just not common, not common. And that's why it didn't protect. By the time it got to where you would have moved your stop, it had already hit the stop. That's why it didn't work. That's why it didn't work. It was just so darn fast. Yeah. Yup. It was too fast. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. I mean, very frustrating for us also. It hits a target and then turns around and it just can't get you out fast enough because it's so fast. So you can't, it doesn't protect you. That's what happened. Thanks everyone on YouTube. We're going to close the stream. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you at the next stream. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Really appreciate it.